Welcome back to The Secret Truth. I'm George Butler along with my co-host,
Charlotte Littlefield, and welcome back to our program, Dr. Ann Blake Tracy. You hold a Ph.D. in psychology and health sciences. You've specialized in for over 20 years in adverse reactions to, how do you pronounce that, serotonergic medication?
That's pretty good.
Okay. And you are the author of the book Prozac, Panacea, or Pandora, and you have affiliation. I'd like to promote a very important website to the listening audience, and that is drugawareness.org. I have plenty of questions for you, but I'd like to give the mic back to George and see where he wanted to go.
No,
Okay.
go ahead. Where were we, Dr. Tracy, when we cut
Well,
out?
I had just mentioned that the FDA issued warnings about the suicide. What I didn't mention is that the warning that they issued was a black box warning. That's the next closest thing you can get to banning a group of drugs. So they came as close as they could to banning it without banning it.
And what is the percentage of the population today, of August 2010? What percentage do you think of the American population are on these type of drugs?
Those figures are some of the hardest figures to get. They seem to be very guarded. But we've gotten various figures from various people, and it's different in different areas. I swear here it's got to be 50%, but for at least 50% who's taken them. I know I had a nurse tell me that in the psych hospital where she worked, 75% of the doctors and nurses were on them, which is a whole different issue that people really need to think about. I mean, these drugs have amnesia listed as a frequent side effect. If they affect your memory that strongly that you can't even remember who you are, frequently you can't remember who you are, how are you supposed to remember what your patient needs?
Well, in a hospital, too, if the nurses are on some of these drugs, then how can they remember the medication they're administering to their patients?
Exactly right. And that's the very first question I asked the nurse who told me that. And she said, oh, we don't remember. We just keep reminding one another what each patient needs, and then we laugh and joke about how we're getting older.
Yeah.
Does that make you feel really safe?
So basically, we have a high percentage of the population, both children, teenagers, adults, and elderly, on these very powerful psychotropic drugs that are so dangerous that they were almost one step away from being banned by the FDA. They got the black box warning.
Right.
This is a crisis.
And that black box warning was for any antidepressant ever introduced to the market and any to be approved in the future.
Because they affect personality.
Really sweeping warning.
Right. Go ahead, Charlotte.
Tell us how you came, what year did you write the book?
The book first came out in 94, was updated again in 2001. It's time to update it again because, wow, we just had the fellow who purchased the approval for Prozac for Eli Lilly in Sweden in the mid-'80s who's gone public and let people know that it really wasn't based on science at all. It was based on money, and that's how the drugs got out there to begin with.
How can we, can our listening audience get more information about the Eli Lilly, the purchaser? Tell us more about that, what's happening.
He was the director the Swedish director for Lilly, and Lilly contacted him one day and said, hey, look, we need Prozac approved, and your job depends on it. Get it done. He said, how? And they said, we don't care. Any way you can do it. So he buddied up to the doctor that he felt was going to be making the decision. Now, let me explain, though, that the reason why they wanted Sweden is because if Sweden generally has really strict guidelines, so they figured if Sweden approved it, the other countries would just kind of fall like dominoes. So there was a very definite reason why they wanted Sweden. And he got to be friendly with this doctor that was going to make the decision and just said to him one day, hey, I need Prozac approved. And this is what he has told me from his own mouth, by the way, person to person. And he's posted a lot of it on the Internet and has his own book out now about all of these things. But he said that the doctor just laughed at him when he said that. And he said, no, I'm very serious. I need the drug approved. You know, it's very important to me that it get approved. And so the doctor let him know that what he wanted was money. So he went back to the drug company and told them that he wants money. They said, find out how much. And he negotiated it down to $25,000 to $30,000, which is unbelievable. And so then dangled some promises of possible research projects for the doctor's research clinic, which can be worth millions down the road.
So essentially it was a bribe.
That's how I got.
Now, this director, can you reveal his name or what our listening audience might be able to do?
His name is John Virapin, Virapen. He's all over the net now.
Okay. And do you know the title of his book that he's written? And when was that published?
Yeah, his book is called Side Effect Death. And I think it was just published like maybe last year, not very long ago. I don't know if he goes into all the details on Prozac. He talks about the corruption in the drug industry. He says what he did for them was criminal and what they do every day of the week is criminal.
This is very serious. Everybody in the listening audience and all of us know somebody that's taking one of these drugs.
And they're very highly addictive.
Well, we've got to get this into our AA groups, too, you know, around here in Austin. Let them know about this craving. Because it's ruinous for alcoholics. Yes.
They're the most vulnerable.
Yes, they are. We're going to be taking another break, and we'll be right back, Dr. Tracy. Thank you so very much for being with us this evening.